Well, hello and welcome. Here we are back again. My name is Anton Bennink, and as a Proctor Gallagher consultant, I joined the mission to improve the quality of lives globally by helping people just like you and me improve the quality of our thoughts individually. Because as you might have heard or you might already know, the quality of our thoughts eventually becomes the quality of our lives. First it was Andrew Carnegie, then it was Napoleon Hill, then it was Earl Nightingale, then it was Bob Proctor, now it is Sandy Gallagher, and I as a Proctor Gallagher consultant. If you can tell us what you want, we can show you how to get it. The material we work with is time tested and proven throughout the past 125, 150 years. It is underwritten by some of the most successful people that have ever lived. We're speaking about the Thomas Edisons, the Henry Fords of this world. And Napoleon Hill's work probably created more millionaires, more successful people than any other work that has ever been created. And that is the foundation of the material we work with. In essence, what we help people understand is that we've got two different things to deal with in this universe, on this earth, as human beings. First, and something we have influence over, is our mind body connection. The body is an instrument of our mind. And as Thomas Trowett said, our mind is a center of divine operation. And divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. So it is natural that if you are here and you're like, I want to create a better life for myself, I want to create more freedom for myself, I want to create a better life for the people around me, my friends, my family. That's natural. Jim Rohn often said, how tall, how large does a tree grow? And that's very simple, of course. As large as it can, as tall as it can. A tree doesn't do half. Only us, only you and I, as human beings, have the ability to deliberately choose to do less than that we are capable of doing. And I believe that's where a lot of sadness and misery comes from in this world. A lot of people who deliberately do less than that they're capable of doing. And in this master show, I want to inspire people just like you and me to be better a little bit every single day. Get everything out of you that is in you and become the best version of yourself. And there's only one way to do that, and that is through study. And first and foremost, the thing that we have influence over, the thing that we can improve is our mind body connection, the quality of our mindset, the quality of our heart set, the quality of our soul set, and the quality of our health set. Healthy on all different levels of life. And then there's one other thing, and we don't have influence over it. We basically just got to deal with it, learn to live in harmony with it. And those are the universal laws of this universe. And that is where, especially one of them, but where I want to dive deeper into today. And a really beautiful point to exemplify this law is the principle of giver's gain. Let's dive in. Let's learn to live our ideal life. And an ideal, by the way, is an idea that you as a human being have fallen in love with. That becomes your ideal. And to turn your ideal into reality, As I said, you've got two things to work with: this mind body connection, with your body as an instrument of the mind, and the natural laws of this universe that you've got to learn to live in harmony with. Giver's gain is a really beautiful way to look at one of these specific laws. And in essence, it's a secondary law, the law of attraction, that what you put out in the world is what you attract more of into your life. And this law of attraction is by a lot of people, it is misunderstood. And the reason that by a lot of people it is misunderstood is very simple, because it is a secondary law. The primary law upon which the law of attraction is based is the law of vibration. Everything in this universe moves, everything vibrates. The chair I'm sitting in is vibrating. The table I'm sitting at is vibrating. A dead body in a coffin is vibrating. And now you might think this dude is going bonkers, but think about it. How otherwise would a body turn to dust? Everything moves, everything vibrates. And that which vibrates in resonance with each other is attracted to each other. Say for a resonance is another word for love. When you are in love with someone, you are in resonance with that person. Resonance is when something or someone vibrates on the same frequency as something or someone else. Say, for example, when you press on the key of a piano and a little statue in the room or a little candle holder starts vibrating with it, and they both are on the same frequency and they both start making that sound. But then when you press upon another key of the piano, nothing happens. That statue, that thing, nothing in that room is in resonance with the vibration of that sound. So the law of attraction states that what you put out into the universe, that what is on the same frequency or in resonance with what you put out into the universe comes back to you. So whatever you want more of in your life, you have to give more of. Professionally looking, you can be like, I want more business. Then you have to give away more business opportunities to potential or current business partners. Say you want more love in your life. You'd have to give more love to get more love in return. Say you want more money, and this is a very controversial. You have to give more money away. And then you might say, but I don't have a lot, or I don't have enough right now. How do you mean that I should give it away? Giver's gain. It basically means that what you put out into the world, that what you give more of, you gain more of. That is why Bob Proctor always stated so beautifully, willingly give and graciously receive. But the whole idea here is it starts with the giving. There is no receiving before there is giving. And that is why today I want to speak with you about and dive deeper into that idea, giver's gain. An important part that you've got to realize is that you create your own economy. And that economy that you create is completely dependent upon in what areas you give your time, your attention, your money to. That what you invest your time, your attention, your money into, that is going to become your entire economy. And this is an important part of creating some sort of financial independence, some sort of financial freedom in your life as well. Because some people might say, well, money isn't important or money isn't everything. But there's nothing that replaces money in the area that it is used. So it is important for us to create our own economy in the sense that we become independent of people, of companies, that we create a certain independence for ourselves, that we can take care of ourselves, that we become fully responsible for ourselves, and we don't have to rely upon others so much to live, to do what we want to do. How do you create your own economy? You create your own economy by setting up multiple sources of income. The law of compensation, one of these laws that always works. The law of compensation simply states that the amount of money you earn is in direct ratio to one, the demand for what you do, two, your ability to do it, and three, the difficulty there is in replacing you. One, the demand for what you do, two, your ability to do it, and three, the difficulty there is in replacing you. And in the end, it all comes down to number two. Because what I realized over time is that there's so many people on this planet. We are there. There's demand for about everything. So look yourself in the mirror and ask, what do I love to do? And start doing that. Because once you realize that there's demand for anything, that's out of the question. And eventually you can, point three, eventually you can become very difficult to replace. But you're never irreplaceable. But the difficulty to be replaced is completely dependent upon your ability to do what you do. If you become one of the best in the world, and by the way, it isn't that difficult to become one of the best, because most people in this world go to school, and then once they finish school, they stop learning, and they just do what they do for the rest of their lives until they retire. If you just make the commitment to become 1% better every single day, just study one little bit in your field of expertise, in the area where you work in, and you become a little tiny bit better every day, very quickly you'll be one of the best in what you do. Because so few people really try, really work on improving continuously every single day upon what they're doing. And in creating your own economy, that is really important. Realizing what you want to do and becoming the best at it, working on your ability to do it. And then based upon that, there's three different income strategies. Bob Proctor also always called them M1, M2, and M3. And M1 is what 96% of the people practice, but only about 1% of the money is being made there. So think of that. 96% of the people only earn about 1% of the money in the world. It's completely out of whack. But the reason is because they don't understand the other money making strategies. The first money making strategy is exchanging your time for money. hour in, a salary per hour. Almost all employees in people who work for a company in this world have a salary that is based upon an hourly wage. That is exchanging your time for money. 96% of the people do it, and only 1% of the money in the world is being made that way. So 96% of the people in the world only have about 1% of the money to spend. It's not fully fair, seems. But that's one of the brutal cliff notes of life that I learned from one of my other mentors, Darren Hardy. He always said, uh, make note of this. Life is not fair. Deal with it. And moving on to money making strategy number 2, that is about 3% of the people use this strategy. Some make quite good money with it, and others lose a lot of money with it. And that is people who exchange and invest money to earn money. But there could be an issue here. One, you need money, and that's difficult if you don't have any yet. And two, you need to know really well what you're doing. If you don't know really well what you're doing, chances are that what you invest, you lose. So it's a good strategy, but first you need some, and then you really need to study, you really need to learn well what to do, or even get in touch, in contact, and ask guidance from a financial expert. Money making strategy number 3, and this is what it's all about. If you've got kids, if you've got friends, this is the strategy that you want to tell them about. And it is multiple sources of income. And through multiple sources of income, you create your own economy. This is where 96% of the money is made, but only 1% of the people in this world use it. So it can fully be created by the first 2 strategies. First, selling an hourly wage, but then selling some of your hours to get some income and to have a living, because earning a living is essential in this society that we live in. Everybody needs to earn a living. But then, based upon that skill that you've got, you can create something else that the world or the society, people could benefit from. And you can package that in a way that you can sell it, and you can package it in another way, and you can sell that too. And through that, you can create multiple sources of income. Through multiple sources of income, you have some sources that are large, some sources that are small. Benefit of it is they all flow into your bank account. And that is the economy that you then create for yourself. And you create independence from one income flow. How do you do that? Givers gain. Give more service. Based upon what you figured out, I would love to spend my time doing this. Turn that into rendering service to other people. Some people love to make music, other people love to work and analyze things. Some people love to program, some people love to play video games, some people love to do what I'm doing and speak about this process of personal and professional development. Figure out what it is that you love to do and how to render service doing that. And ideas will pop up in how to create different income streams from it, because when people want what you've got to offer based upon what you love to do, the service that you render through it, it will start coming back. You first have to render service, you first have to give, and then you can receive. And by giving then different types of service, you can create different sources of income. You create your own economy. But we've got to paradigm to deal with. And people, a lot of people are programmed in a way that they've got to earn a salary to earn money, and that's correct, and that's okay. A lot of people do it that way. But once you're programmed that way, it becomes more difficult to look around for yourself and think, all right, what is it that I can do? What is it that I can create to create the multiple sources of income? That programming that I'm talking about is our paradigm. Our paradigm is a program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all our behavior is habitual. What we learn from this is that basically we get the results that we get because of the way that we are programmed. If we want to improve the results that we've got, we've got to improve the programming. And to learn to improve the programming, it is important to know, to understand how the programming has been originated, how it's created, why it is the way that it is. And in essence, it's because of a few important parts. And those few important parts are very simply our genetics. Why do you look so much like your parents, like your grandparents, like your great grandparents, maybe even, if you've known them? In appearance, in habitual behavior, in state of being, in maybe things right or things wrong in the body. Why does the doctor ask if somebody comes in and they have something with their heart? The first thing they ask is, do other people had it in your family? Is it something that occurred before in your family? Because that's given on through the DNA, through genetics. A little particle from mom and a little particle from dad, and there is you. And that was for your mom and dad as well. A little particle from her mother, a little particle from her father, and there was your mother. Little particle from his father, little particle from his mother, and there was your father. And so these genes, this DNA, is programmed in our state of being. To figure out why we do some of the things that we are doing, we've got to go back several generations in the family tree to figure out why that is the way that it is. Why do you tie your shoelaces the way that you tie them? Why do you put one leg first in your underwear? No, like, take note of it, look at it. When you wake up in the morning or when you get under the shower, and what leg goes first in your underwear? It is very likely usually the same one. And how did that happen? When you were a little boy, or when I was a little boy, it was, hey, Anton, give me your foot, and it was put on. And always the same foot was taken. And ever since, you do it yourself, but you do it the way that you were programmed. So first it is from genetics, and then it is from your childhood. The early childhood, when we are a baby, when we are 1, 2, 3, 4, more or less up until about 7 years of age, we don't have the conscious ability to decide, to choose, to accept or reject. We can are the higher faculties of our mind, and I'll dive into this in a bit deeper. The higher faculties of our mind are not developed yet. And one of the higher faculties of our mind, the higher faculties of our thinking, basically our thinking muscles, are not yet developed at that age. So we don't have the ability to reason. When we are or 2 years of age, we don't have the ability to reason. Whatever happens around the child, around the toddler, is falling into the subconscious mind of the child, of the baby, of the toddler. And that becomes a fixed idea in the subconscious mind of the child. Let's take another example. Let's say at about a baby is born, and at about 2 years of age, the baby is born in Amsterdam, and at about 2 years of age, the baby is uh, placed in Paris in a French family. What happens? The baby will, after a few years, speak fluently French and have no knowledge whatsoever of the Dutch language. This works exactly the other way around as well. When you take a French baby and you drop it in the Netherlands, the same happens. Speaks fluently Dutch, will not have any knowledge of the French language whatsoever. This is because we cannot say as a baby, I cannot learn that language. The baby doesn't say, or the toddler doesn't say, I cannot learn that language. They just start to mimic mom and dad, they start to mimic the people around them, and they learn the language, they start to speak it. So, first, those fixed ideas that in our subconscious mind, that paradigm is programmed from our genetics, then from our childhood, where we do not have the ability yet to accept ideas or reject ideas. Everything just falls into the subconscious mind and becomes a fixed idea. And later on, we become programmed by our environment. Charlie Tremendous Jones, a wonderful speaker from many years ago, often stated, we become the average of the people we spend time with and the books we read. The knowledge that we accept into our mind is eventually what becomes the state of our being. And that state of our being is expressed into the universe, and whatever is expressed creates a reaction, action, reaction, and that alters our results. So the reason that we've got the results that we've got is because of our programming, because of our paradigm. If we want to change our paradigm, we've got to change our programming. And that is exactly what the core material that I teach with the Proctor Gallagher Institute is based at. How do I change that paradigm so that I don't just have a quick spike in results? Because with force, we can create a quick spike in results. But force negates. So with force, after we've created that quick spike in results, it will drop down to the former level or even lower. What we teach is how do I change those fixed ideas, which are commonly referred to as habits, so that the results go up continuously. We don't fall back anymore. So let's have another look at what areas of our life our paradigm has an enormous control over. I started today with how we create our own economy. Our paradigm has a tremendous control over our ability to earn money, an enormous control over our perception, where Wayne Dyer often said, if you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes. It has a great control over the way we use our time. If you change the way you use your time, you change the way you live your life. It has an enormous control over our creativity, over our effectiveness, over our productivity. and over our logic. What's logical for me is not necessarily logical for you. Usually the illogical thing is the thing that creates tremendous results, but it's only logical in retrospect. So think about it. If you change any or all of these areas in your life, improve any or all of these areas in your life, what will that do for the quality of your life? If you improve the quality of your perception, if you improve the use of your time, if you improve your productivity, these are the things. By improving the quality of these concepts in our life and improving how we use these things, by improving the quality of our paradigm, we improve the quality of our lives. Dr. Thurman Fleet created the stick figure that we looked at last week. If you want to dive into, have a quick look at it. I'll show it on the next slide again as well. But he stated, the mind is not an activity. It's not a thing. No one has ever seen the mind. In order to gain clarity, I'm going to draw a picture of the mind. So we're creating an image of the mind. And Dr. Thurman Fleet, he was a psychiatrist in the healing arts in around 1934. And Dr. Thurman Fleet, he realized that a lot of his patients weren't really healing the way that they could be healing. And he realized the reason that this is the way it is because we are treating symptoms. Symptoms are in the body. Symptoms are the emotions that you feel. We are treating symptoms. If you feel depressed, it's a symptom of something, not causes. What is the thing that causes the symptom? We need to influence the cause to change the symptom forever. If we change the cause, the effect will be changed. But he realized we think in images, and we don't have an image of the mind. And when you think of something that you don't have an image of, you get confusion. And once you are confused about something, you usually move away from that topic and you move to a topic that you do understand. So he was thinking, I'm going to draw a picture of the mind. Now he said, I draw this picture, but this is not the way it is. This is just a picture so that you've got something to work with. And he created 2 circles with a couple of sticks. And he said, this is the stick figure. He said, this is the mind. And this is the cause of the problems in your body. This is the cause of your anxiety, your depression, your debts, your financial results, your company bankruptcy, or the great results of your financial freedom, of your loving relationships. If there is an issue, if there is a situation in the body or in your results, in the physical life, if there is a result, the cause was in the mind. If there's a problem in the body, it originated in the mind. So Dr. Thurman Fleet said, if you want to solve the problem in the body, if you want to solve the problem in your results, you've got to work with your mind. And you can only work with your mind if you've got an image of the mind, because as human beings, we think in images. And the mind is everywhere. The mind is not a thing. But it is what we've got to work with. As I started today, that's what we have influence over. The mind body connection, with the body as an instrument of the mind. So once we learn how to influence the mind positively, we are able to use the instrument of the mind more positively to create better results in our health, in our relationships, in our finances, in everything. Givers gain. The quality of the ideas that you give yourself is the quality of the results that you'll receive in your life. And he draw two circles with a couple of sticks, one big circle and one small circle, just like you see on the screen. And the large circle you can look at as the head, and also look at this when you look at yourself. The large circle you can look at as the head, and he put one line straight through it. And he said the top half is the conscious mind, and the bottom half is the subconscious mind. The top half is like our intellectual mind, and the bottom half is like our emotional mind, our emotional state of being. And you see the energy surrounding it, and you see the energy flowing through it. Emotion, energy in motion, energy in movement. So the ideas that you give from your conscious mind and you pass on to your subconscious mind, the ideas that you get and create in your intellect and you give to your emotional mind, become a state of your being and eventually is expressed through the body. Expression through the body happens in action, happens in words, happens in movement. An action creates a reaction. An action reaction creates results. So if you want to improve the results in your life, you have to improve the quality of the energy that is flowing with and through you to create better results. That's what we help people with. The mission to improve quality of lives globally by helping people just like you and me improve quality of thoughts individually. What is the difference between these two? The subconscious or the conscious mind, the top half of our mind, is our thinking mind. It's where thoughts are floating around. It's our intellectual mind. It's our educated mind. When we go to school and we learn things, that's the part we educate. It's the part where we have choice. The choice to either accept or reject an idea. If we accept an idea, it moves on to the rest of our state of being. It moves on to our subconscious mind. If we reject the idea, we reject it. We say no. We can reject an idea. Most people are not even really using that ability, or maybe not fully aware of it. But if there is negative news, and most of the news that goes around in this world is negative, that's just the way it is. But there's probably in the world just as much positive news. But the positive news doesn't attract the eyeballs. So the news that is going around is negative. But when you get in contact with the news and you watch the news daily, or a lot of people do, I wouldn't recommend it because it's just putting negative thoughts in your state of being. But you can reject these ideas, that they don't have influence over you, that they don't become part of your emotional state of being. A really good question to ask yourself, whether to before accepting or rejecting an idea, is posing yourself the question: does this idea benefit me and the goals I am moving towards? If the idea benefits you and the goals you are moving towards, you can say, I accept this idea. And you give yourself the idea over and over again. If you say, no, this idea doesn't benefit me, It doesn't improve the quality of my life. It doesn't help me move towards my goal better, faster, more easily, more harmoniously. You can reject it. You can say, no, I'm not letting this have influence over me. Another gorgeous thing of the conscious mind is that we can originate ideas. Like the Wright brothers, a couple of bicycle mechanics. Their father was like, you're gonna burn in hell for even the idea that we're able to fly as human beings. But they originated the idea and they built an airplane. The idea they originated, they accepted, and they kept working on it. Once they had the image in their mind of the idea what they wanted to create, of the idea they originated, they accepted it. And once they accepted it, it became part of their subconscious mind, of their emotional state of being. When somebody they got up in the air, I think it was 11 seconds or maybe a minute. I think it was like 11 seconds. And they got that airplane up there for 11 seconds. And somebody said, well, that doesn't work. You only got it up there for 11 seconds. They were like, we didn't only get it up there, we got it up there for 11 seconds. So in their emotional state of being, they accepted the idea. And they thought, hey, if we can do it for 11 seconds, we can figure out how to do it longer. So it all depends on your emotional state of being. And once you accept the idea, it moves to your subconscious mind, to your emotional state of being. And your subconscious mind, it cannot accept or reject. It must accept. Everything that the conscious mind accepts, the subconscious mind must accept. The subconscious mind cannot reject. And a really important part, a really fascinating part of the subconscious mind, our emotional state of being, it knows no difference between what is real or what is imagined. So think about this, for example. You can think about a great party, maybe your wedding, or maybe your 16th birthday, or maybe your 50th birthday. A great feast with family and friends, and when you close your eyes and you go back to it, you can completely rejoice again and feel the feelings of being at that party. Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what is real or what is imagined. It feels just as real as when it would happen right now as when you see it on the screen of your mind. That is the power of your subconscious mind, and that is what, when you give that image to your subconscious mind, you receive the feelings that go with that image. Willingly give and graciously receive. And Albert Einstein, also one of these great thinkers of our world, he stated the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this. What does this really mean? The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors honors the servant, and has forgotten the gift. This basically means that we look at society today and most people that operate in it, and they generally think rationally. This is possible, this is impossible. But when Napoleon Hill got himself a dictionary after he started studying the most successful people of the world, the first thing he did was very neatly clip out the word impossible out of the dictionary. That is the intuitive mind. Nothing is impossible there. But nowadays we operate the wrong way around. We should use our intuitive mind to listen to that inner voice within. And that inner voice within usually speaks in emotions, in feelings. And we should listen to that inner voice within, that intuitive mind, and take action, move, express based upon that inner voice. And then use our rational mind to to live the way that silent voice tells us to live. To live the way, to take the action that our intuition tells us to take. But often in today's society, people rationally think about what they should do, and they never really use their intuition anymore. The rational mind is a faithful servant. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift. So turn it back around again. Start listening to that silent voice within, listen to it, and based upon what you hear, what you feel, take action upon that and use your rational mind as a faithful servant to help you move into the direction that that silent voice within tells you to move into. Here we go again. Intuition is one of the higher faculties of our mind. Some people you might hear say, "Yeah, well, I don't hear that voice within. I don't feel intuitive. I don't think I have a good intuition." But the thing with these higher faculties of the mind, you can see them as mental muscles. You can train them. You can develop them, and they're just like a bicep, just like muscles in your arm. When you put this arm in a sling and you leave it there for a couple of months, and the other arm you start lifting weights, the the arm you're lifting weights becomes very strong, and atrophy will start to take place in the arm that you're having in a sling. So when you know that the higher faculties of your thinking, the higher faculties of your mind, your thinking muscles are muscles, you start to gain the understanding that you can develop them as strong as you want. So you can train your intuition. You can be silent more often to listen to the voice within. You can meditate more often. You can train your intuition by putting a lot of, when you are sitting with a person, putting all your energy, your listening, your physical state of energy onto the other person and fully listen. Bob Proctor, or one of his mentors, often stated, "We hear with our ears, we listen with our emotions." And when somebody is not feeling well or unhappy or happy and feeling well, we can pick that up with our emotions, with our intuition. So by learning and by focusing upon the other person and picking up those signals, you train your intuition. You train to listen to the feelings that you feel, that you pick up, that the other person expresses. That's one way to train your intuition. And then we have our memory. Some people, yeah, I'm horrible in remembering names. You often hear people. Um, or I'm horrible in remembering numbers. But memory is a muscle. You can train the muscle. You can develop the muscle. I think I've got a book here, the Memory Book by Harry Lorraine and Jerry Lucas. And they taught people how to train their memory. They could teach people how to remember the Bible. Um, it is different tricks that you can use to either remember names or remember numbers or remember things that you got to do or remember a presentation that you want to hold. Memory is something, it's a muscle, and so is imagination. I think it was Napoleon Hill who stated, "Your imagination is the greatest nation in the world." And I think it was Albert Einstein who said it, logic will get you from A to B. Your imagination will bring you all around the world. It is your imagination that you can create the image of what it is that you really want. And because your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what is real and what is imagined, you can create an image of the screen of on the screen of your mind. And based upon that image on the screen of your mind, you can rejoice in being, in having already what it is that you want, because your subconscious mind sees it as already reality. And then we've got reason, that we looked upon just now as our conscious mind, our intellect, our ability to either accept, reject ideas, or originate ideas. With reason, we can use our reasoning factor to think about a concept and think about, does this concept benefit the quality of my life? Or does did this concept not improve the quality of my life? Or will it make my life worse if I accept this idea? Then you can reject it. But you must learn to use your reasoning factor. Then we have our will. And Bob Proctor often stated our will is to our mind what a magnifying glass is to the sun. It focuses our mind. And in this world nowadays, where with the texts and the tweets and the notifications and the emails and the phone calls and the social media, our attention is attracted from so many different places. But where focus goes, energy flows. So where we put our focus, that is the direction that we move in with our life. If we put our focus on 27 different things at the same time, we're not really moving anywhere. Least of all the place that we really want to go in life. So focus upon what it is that you want. Use your will, train your will. That's really important. Then you've got your perception. As Wayne Dyer stated, when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes. Bob Proctor in his seminars often got a book. And he said to the person that he was looking at, he held the book up and he said, "There is nothing on the cover of this book." And the person that was looking at the book was looking at the front of the book. Like, no, there is something on the front of the book. There's nothing on the cover of this book. And the person who was looking at the front, like, no, of course, there's text on the cover. And then he turned it away, around. And all of a sudden, there was nothing on the cover of the book. The way you look at things determines the way that you see them. If you change the way that you look at them, you'll change the way that you see them. So that is how 5 different people can look at the same problem. And 5 different people can see 5 different solutions. Or some people might only see the problem and other people might only see the solution. And then it clashes. Because if you're not open-minded to somebody else's perception, you're closed-minded and you're not able to accept new ideas. And it is new ideas that sometimes can help you forward and win the obstacles, overcome the obstacles in your life. So these are the higher faculties of the mind, and we should train them. We must learn about them. Watch this part about the mind again and again, and train the higher faculties of your thinking so that you become a very strong-minded person, that you have control over your mind. And with your body as an instrument of the mind, through your mind, you have control over your body. And you gain control over the mind by gaining control and developing these higher faculties of the mind. Then, as I started today, when you master you decide what it is that you really love to do, you decide that you become the best at it. When you master you and continue to improve yourself by 1% every day, you will skyrocket your success, because so few people do in this world. that very quickly, with a couple of years, you become one of the best in your company, one of the best in your marketplace. If you just develop yourself a little tiny bit every day in doing the thing that you love to spend your time doing. And last but not least, what is it that you really want? What is it that you really want? Give more of it. Givers gain. Willingly give and graciously receive. First, figure out what it is that you really want, and then figure out what it is that you must give more of. Do you want better relationships? Give more in your relationships. Give more time, give more attention, give more love, give more appreciation to the people around yourself. Do you want more money? Give more money. And that sounds very controversial, because if you're like, my bank account is empty, how do you mean I've got to give? I don't have anything to give. Give your time, give your money. When some money comes in, give part of it away, give all of it away. You have to make space for the thing that it is that you want. So, givers gain. And a really beautiful concept of this is the professional network BNI, Business Network International. They also have givers gain as one of their main philosophies. And they give referrals to each other. A group of entrepreneurs who come together on a weekly basis all over the world in local groups, and they give each other, they sit down and they present to each other, and they try, they work on, they do their best to give each other referrals for business every single week. What happens? What they give, they receive. Willingly give and graciously receive. By them giving referrals to other people in the group, other people in the group start giving referrals to them. And through that way, givers gain is a time tested and proven gorgeous concept to create the thing that it is that you really want in your life. And what is it that you really want? Use the concept of givers gain to attract it into your life, to use the law of attraction based upon the law of vibration. By giving more, you come in resonance. You step on the frequency of the good that it is that you desire. Thank you very much for listening today. I hope I've been able to share something of value. And if you really want to dive deeper, you can find in the text below. Later on, you can find a link to my website, antonbennink.com, and you can join the masterclass where I dive deeper into the You Were Born Rich mastermind system. You can see the book right behind me, and it's based upon the time-tested and proven principles that can help you turn your dreams into physical realities. Decide upon what it is that you really want, and as Proctor Gallagher consultant, I will help you turn it into physical reality. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and don't forget, live with love, live with passion, and change is inevitable. But it is your choice to personally develop yourself.